So in this session, we're talking about, did the recording start? It did. Okay. So in this session, we're going to talk a little bit about how you can create and use virtual reality tools in the classroom. And there's two things we're really going to focus on. One is how you can get, or the use of Google Cardboard viewers, which are fairly inexpensive. Students could buy them, or you could make them yourself out of cardboard. Google sells instructions on how to create those, and the only thing you have to buy really are the little plastic lenses, and they're very inexpensive. And the other thing is a 360 camera here. And I'm going to connect from my phone just so you can see how this works. These sell for about $200 or so, and for what they do, they're remarkably inexpensive. And I have to join from this device, and I have to get this back on wireless. That'll just take a second. Okay, and now my wireless has disconnected again. And there we go. So that should work very shortly. Share the screen so you can see how this works. Basically, this little camera, which is made by Ricoh, it's a Theta 3, is a 360-degree camera. And it works amazingly well. And it connects to an iPhone or an Android phone. And very shortly, I should appear in here from the phone. I should, in principle, appear in the phone there. Let me try that again. May have crashed the Zoom app. Okay, one more time. It did, it bumped me out. So, okay, so I'm going to join this meeting, and this should now all appear so you can see my phone. Okay, so we're going to be able to see the desktop of my phone. And the way this works is I'm going, oh, you can't see my phone.
I did for a minute.
I know, and then it disappeared. I think it's just the Wi-Fi connection. That's really unfortunate. Well, Well, I'll describe what happens at least, and then we can look at some things on the computer. It won't be quite the same as seeing them through the other view, but it's still kind of impressive. Now, when you turn this phone on, it creates a Wi-Fi hotspot. And then what you do is you connect to that from your mobile device.
Okay.
And it should very shortly, here it appear. It shows up as Theta X and then a long code number, which is unique to each one of these. And you connect to that. And now my phone, unfortunately, I was hoping you'd be able to see this. When I tried it this morning and last night, it worked beautifully, but it's not doing that now. And I think it's because the phone signal is a little weak, but that doesn't explain why the Wi-Fi disconnected. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the Theta app that comes with this, so you can download it from the App Store. And again, it works on Android or iOS devices. And it's going to open up a view which is a 360 view. The way the camera works is there's two fisheye lenses on either side of this. And because they're fisheye and the front and back are concave surfaces, it's capturing a 360-degree view in pretty much all directions except right at the very base. And it's only missing really the width of the camera. So on my phone, let me see if I can hold it up a little bit to the camera and maybe you can at least get a feel for it. On my phone, I can see the view that's coming in from the camera. It's a little distorted because of the spherical abnormality. But what I can do is I can use it to capture this. And it just took an image, a 360-degree photo, which is downloads, well, which is going to synthesize it, stitch it together, and now it's in the process of uploading to my phone. And it will now be there. And once it's done that, it's just created this video, which now the display they have isn't perfect. It looks a little distorted, but it's 360 degrees. You can go up and see the ceiling, and the lights up there. You can go down and see the base. And the only thing missing really is just a little bit of my fingers right where I was holding it. But otherwise, it's a nicely stitched version of the 2 camera views. And you can even do this as a video. It takes a little bit longer to edit, but you can create 360-degree videos. And once you've created those, you could then upload them to YouTube, to Facebook, and to other services. And all of a sudden, you created these 360-degree views. Now, I'm going to see if I can connect my iPad in here. And you can do this any number of times. You can download them to your phone and then upload them, or you can plug this into a computer with a standard USB cable. It's got a micro USB adapter on the bottom, and you can then upload it. Newer versions of this, there's one this year, will also capture spatial audio so that you will be able, for example, to take audio and you could hear things on the left on your left side, on the right side on your right, and as people walk around you, it would give, if you have surround sound, you'd be able to hear them go around you on each side and front to back. And so you can create really realistic images or videos by just using one of these cameras. This specific camera, because it's a $200 one and not the $2,000 or $3,000 ones, will only capture up to about, I think it's either 20 or 30 minutes at a time, but then you could stop it and take another one. So you can capture some interesting views of things. Now, in terms of academic use, if you have students that are touring, for example, in another country, if there's a study abroad program, or if you're taking a tour of a historic site, or if you're at a historic site or some other site and you want to bring back images to your class, you can record videos from there where you're talking over it, and then you could just take images that you could then share with them. If you take videos and you post them on YouTube, you could do a voiceover. You can edit them now with iMovie on iMovie, or what's the other editing tool? Pro something, I forget. I used to use it, I don't anymore. I'm now using either Camtasia or Adobe's product, or Adobe Premiere. But Final Cut. If you have Final Cut Pro on a Mac, it will edit 360-degree videos directly. And so there's a growing number of tools where you can edit things, you can embed text over things, you can have it floating in 3 dimensions, and so on. But a really simple use of this is just going out on site. It could be a geology site, it could be a courtroom, it could be a firm, it could be it could be a museum, it could be a gallery, it could be an ancient temple or a chapel or cathedral or a park or anything. And you can bring back images that are really fairly realistic. Now, what happens though, I'm going to turn off the camera now and I'm going to reconnect this to Wi-Fi and see if I can get this connected. It should be able to, because that has worked really well before. I was not counting on this problem, but this is new.
How many of your problems have you counted on?
Well, some of them became pretty predictable early on. They were still frustrating, but this one has always worked here. So I'm going to go back into Zoom and see if I can toggle the screen sharing off and on, and that may work. So I'm going to turn it off, and I'm going to turn it back on again and start broadcasting, and maybe this time it will work. It says it has. Okay, so now, very quickly here, I'm going to go, actually, I'm going to jump for just a second over to some examples that I've created in the past. And I'm going to go to Facebook. I'm going to go to my profile. Where am I? I'm going to go to my profile, and I'm going to go to photos, because I posted quite a few of them here. And some of them will be in a folder which is listed as Rico Theta. Actually, here's one I did before. Well, no, actually, well, here's some. No, those are just regular photos. Well, here's one. A really cool thing about this is if you upload one of these to Facebook and to some other photo sharing sites, it should, oh, come on, I don't want to share that. Done. Come on, stop, stop, stop. Here we go. Now, what happens, this is one I took before, and apparently I hadn't uploaded. So I am just going to swipe to select a starting view. I'm going to choose a view, and I'm just going to, that's my office here. So we're going to choose this as a starting view right there. And now I'm going to post this, and it's going to render it. And then anyone on my Facebook account would be able to see it eventually, but that's going to take a minute. So I'm going to go to albums and find one that I already uploaded. But that's how easy it is to upload once you've saved it. So somewhere in here, it's going to say Rico Theta Photos, and here's some examples. Let me see. Here's one I took last year at that march in Washington, for example. And the really cool thing is if you load this on a mobile device, now as I turn the phone, you can see it's probably jumping a little bit there. It's really smooth on mine, but because of the upload, it's a little unsteady. But it shows you the view 360 degrees around just by rotating the phone. If I tilt up, I can see the sky. If I tilt down, I can see lower, see people down there. I can look down at the ground. The only thing I won't be able to see is my fingers and the part where I'm holding it. But the rest of it's kind of all there, you see? So you can create these images and share them on social media. Instagram lets you do this. Facebook lets you do it, and so forth. So it can give you a really nice, a much more detailed view of something that you wouldn't have been able to convey as easily. Now, for the videos, if people view them in YouTube and they have the, let's jump to YouTube and we'll see that. If you can search for YouTube videos, and stop, Bill says some interesting things, but we don't need to see his tweets right now. I'm going to do a search here for 360-degree videos. And I should have done this in advance, but we'll just try one. Here's a roller coaster. So we're going to see what a roller coaster looks like in 360 degrees. And this is a view from someone who was watching it. And I want to rotate that a little bit. And, well, it seemed not to be rotating. Let's make it full screen and rotate. There we go. And so now you can look around and see the view as someone who's going up on the roller coaster. And if I had the sound turned up, well, I guess you can probably hear it a little bit. The audio is not very loud, but you can see and hear it and get the perspective of someone from 3 dimensions.
Well, that's pretty cool.
It really is. So you could go on a trip, you could go anywhere and see this sort of effect. And let's see what else. And now this is a view which is just the standard view. But if you wanted to see this in Google Cardboard or on one of the virtual reality headsets, you notice in the bottom of the screen there, those little things that look like goggles. If you do that, it gives you this image. And when you're wearing the headsets, each image comes into one eye or the other, and it gives you the same effect as those old stereoscope things, except much better. And so if you were viewing this, where you put your phone in the headset, you put it on your head, you get this depth perception that we just don't have otherwise.
Yeah.
So it's an impressive feature. So I'm going to go back up and turn that off. But even without it, just viewing it on here, you can see how you get an interesting perception that standard videos just don't do. There are a lot of apps now available for iPhones and Android phones. Google has a whole set where you can visit historic sites or other interesting sites and view them in 3D or view them with 3D videos and so forth. So it opens up all sorts of possibilities. The New York Times and many other news organizations have been posting videos on their websites where you can view these things. Let me get out of here. No, I don't want to share it. Okay, one more time. I'm just going to close out of that. Maybe I'm going to close out of that. We'll go back to the minimized view, and then we'll just close it. So it offers the opportunity to let students experience other places and some experiences without physically being there. And, you know, students can't always afford to study abroad, but those that do could create some nice videos and so forth in 3D or virtual reality mode, in the 360 recordings at least, and then share them, and they can do commentaries, and they can edit them, and they can post those videos. And it's an interesting tool. I started to say the New York Times has some of these. There was one where they were going into prisons and interviewing prisoners in their cells and so forth, and they were giving views of people in solitary confinement and what the solitary confinement cells were like. Or many newspapers or news organizations will record these 360 videos and post them on YouTube or on Facebook, and they'll share 360-degree experiences from a concert or from a demonstration or from a protest and so forth. And some of those videos from the Women's March, I took a whole series of them, both videos and images. I uploaded to Facebook as soon as I could get my phone connection. There was lots of people there. No one was able to connect for a while there because the networks were overwhelmed. But as soon as I got a connection, I uploaded them and shared it. Some people were able to connect and share those live. And certainly if you don't have, you know, 1 million people or so, it's a whole lot easier to connect to the network.
Right.
So that's kind of all I got with this. It's mostly, the camera costs about $200. They're probably going to get cheaper as we go. The Google Cardboard costs about, the cheapest ones, which these were about $4. Higher quality ones that just fit a little nicer and have a little more adjustment in terms of focus and so forth, sell for about $10 or $12. You can spend more, but you can get some, you know, you can get a really nice effect using just your smartphone and Google Cardboard.
Cool. That's neat.
So
I don't know how, you know, likely it is that I'll use it in my classroom or in my classes at this point, but that's okay.
I haven't used it either, and I see we have one other person there. Hi. So any questions?
I don't have any questions. Thank you, though.
Jan, do you have any questions?
You may have left this.
He turned off the camera. But I think, oh, he did leave us. Okay. In any case, I didn't realize he was there. I would have been talking to him.
He just came on, John.
Oh, okay. So maybe
yeah, I hope
he might be here for the next one. So.
Yeah, oh, yeah, maybe. Okay.
Okay, very good.
I'll see you then. I got a couple more still, so.
Okay, well, I'll be here.
All right, thanks, John.